Hi, I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to This Old House in Los Angeles. In the master bedroom, the plaster is going to get a very traditional look for a Spanish colonial house.
And I show you how to achieve that.
We're a couple miles from our project house, and we're visiting the woodworking shop owned by Larry Bucklan. He's building the cabinets, and he's going to install them. Now, those look great.
Thank you. They say it never rains here in Southern California, but that's not the case this month. Silver Lake gets about 7 to 10 inches of rain every year. But last month alone, they got almost 9 inches of rain. It was the wettest month on record ever. So today, we work inside. In the front of the house, we still have all of the original plaster work. And you can see here on the ceiling of the living room, it's got a little bit of a rough finish. Well, they call that catface plaster. And Alfonso Garcia, who's done all the stucco work and the plaster work, is going to show us how to replicate that detail. Another detail we're going to replicate is the tray ceiling. You can see it here in the original dining room. It starts with a big sweeping cove, and then it jogs up about 1.5 inches to create the tray. And underneath this cove right here is a plywood buildup, a mesh, and then the plaster. Now, Alfonso's going to replicate that look as well, but he's got a whole different technique.
Here, Kevin, this is what we're going to use today to make our coves.
So you got yourself a big piece of styrofoam. You can see the basic form right here, the sweep of the cove, and then the recess here for the tray. You've got some up already on the ceiling. So again, sweep of cove, recess for tray. Yes. I get it, but you know, Alfonso, I've seen you do a lot of work so far, all by hand. Are you cheating with this stuff?
No, Kevin. We do both. We do a lot on plaster, but in this case, we're going to do it on foam because of the time.
And so time and labor is going to be your savings. If you had to do this the traditional way, with the traditional build-up and the coat of plaster, how many days?
It would take us 4 days.
And with this?
Just 1 day.
Wow, so there's a labor savings right there.
Correct.
And I guess when it's up this high, you're not going to be kicking it.
Correct. I mean, that's what we're going to use foam, because nobody's going to kick or drill a nail in it.
Yeah, it's going to look good.
It's going to look, at the end, it's going to look good.
All right, so it looks like you still have some pieces to go up.
Correct.
The foam comes in stock profiles, but this is not one of them. We wanted an exact replica to what's in the dining room, so they made this for us, custom. All right, so I'm seeing, what, 8-foot lengths?
8-foot length.
Get one of these out of the way. Tube of what? What are you putting on there?
It's just adhesive.
So really not much to putting them up. You can see why you're going to save so much labor.
Correct. This time we're doing the top of the ceiling. And this is the wall. And it's also good to do it on the sides so it can butt together with the other piece.
Okay. All right. I'll give you a hand getting this up there. Wow, just feather light, nothing to these things. Got it there. I notice you guys have already snapped a line here on the ceiling as a guide, and I'm pretty good right to that. Tight down on your end?
Yeah. And we don't worry much about the gaps and the missing parts, because at the end, we're going to coat it with plaster. And at the end, it's going to look fine.
Going to dress it up nicely. Okay, so we got a short piece down here on the miter. Want to get a measurement here?
Yes. Well, I got this short piece to cut.
So butt end from one side to the short end of the miter is, what's the dimension?
29.5.
All right, got another 8-footer here for you.
What we're doing here, Kevin, is just to have 45-degree angle here.
Mark it up with your pencil. And then just a little handsaw, huh?
Handsaw, yes, it's all.
Does it feel like cheating? Because it's awfully easy.
Well, it's only easy. I don't think I'm cheating.
Okay, so this is the short end of the miter right here. Now we've just got to drag it 29.5. Okay, hand me that, Alfonso. Thank you.
And now we're plastering.
So this is the first of how many coats?
3 coats, to be exact. Now what we're gonna do is just blending it all together.
So just following the shape of that cove with your trowel.
Correct. We are gonna do it a couple of times until we get the cove and the drywall blended in one piece.
How exact of a replica is this cove to the cove in the dining room?
We're gonna try to get the closest we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice form in there. I'm just gonna go a little bit heavier on the bottom of the cove so it blends in with my drywall. And on the ceiling, I'm just gonna go and cover my foam. The rest on the ceiling is gonna be covered by the plaster finish. So this is the first coat of plaster. We're gonna let it set for 45 minutes. Then we're gonna do second coat.
So where the cove meets the arch, you're just going to cut that profile away with the handsaw.
Yes. We're just gonna follow up what's on the arch.
Okay. And it definitely does not look like foam anymore. Thank you, Alfonso.
You're welcome, man.
We're a couple miles from our project house in an area known as Frogtown, and we're visiting the woodworking shop owned by Larry Bucklan. Now, he's been working with our general contractor for a couple years, and he's doing quite a bit for us. He's going to be milling the interior casings, he's building the cabinets, and he's going to install them. Hey, Larry.
Hi, Norm.
How's
Welcome.
it going? Good. Now, you're not a native of Hollywood.
I'm not. I'm from Cleveland. I actually came out here to be an actor. Did you ever see me in anything? No, that's why I'm a cabinet maker.
Well, it looks like you love woodworking. You have a beautiful shop here.
Thank you.
And these are doors and drawer fronts?
They are. It's soft maple. We manufacture them. This is what it looks like when it comes in off the truck, and then we do our magic on it, and they end up looking like this.
Wow.
Now, these are paint grade, so
Right.
grain match isn't so
They
important.
look great.
Thank you.
So you've made all the drawer fronts and doors, but you didn't actually make the boxes for this job.
We didn't on this job. You know, for years we manufactured everything, but with the advent of CNC and how sophisticated they are now, we found a company in Orange County that does beautiful work, so there's no compromise in quality, and he can give me exactly the size I need. If I need 12 and 9/16, I get 12 and 9/16.
Well, they look like they're very well built. How about the drawer boxes?
He started making drawer boxes, so they come in with the drawer boxes and the hardware mounted.
Wow, full extension, concealed hardware. So then I guess once you get them, you have to install the drawer fronts and the doors.
Right, and the hardware, the convenience hardware.
Well, you know, our house is filled with arches.
Which you'll find in Southern California, all different kinds. This is actually a mock-up of the particular kind of arch that's in our homeowner's home. It's more Moorish than just South American Spanish. We have an apex that resolves in a beautiful radius there. It's 12 degrees. The problem that we had with this is that as the doorways expand and contract, this changes and doesn't look quite right. So I did this mock-up. This is for the refrigerator panel. As you walk into the kitchen, that's the first thing you see. I did this mock-up so our homeowner, Kurt, could come in and okay it. He's got a very keen eye, and he was happy with this.
So we can build it.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
So here's the parts for our panel, Norm. Our stiles.
Okay, I got the bottom rail here.
Here's our mid rail, which is going to split us into 2 panels. And here at the top is our top rail, where we're going to have that beautiful Moorish element. Now, this looks like a bead detail. It's actually an ovolo detail, and it's done with a cope and stick that fit together just like that.
Right, and that's a great joint because there's a lot of glue area that really will hold together well.
Right. And right in there is where our panel will fit.
Right.
So let's go cut these on the shaper.
All right, I'll grab the rails.
Thanks. So Neil set up the cutters and the sled to cut the cope. And it's important to have a sled with a really good hold down. We have pneumatics here because you're cutting end grain in a very short piece and it's going to want to wobble. So for safety's sake, it's really important to hold that tight.
Here's the bottom rail that we've coped on each end. Now we want to run the stick along the top edge.
So now Neil has changed the cutters in the setup, added the feeder for safety and for a nice smooth cut.
Now for the mid-rail, he runs both edges.
Right, because there's a panel on either side of it.
And the stiles get the same treatment.
And here's what it'll look like. This has been completed. We have our bead detail and our groove that accepts the panel.
So let's dry fit it together. Okay, that looks pretty good.
And if our top rail had a square detail like this, we could just do it this way. But because we have that beautiful arch that goes round like this method won't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a sled that we created and create that arch detail.
Well, this is quite the sled or jig. You've made it out of some MDF, which is great for making these. You have a stop up here. You got plenty of clamps to hold that piece down.
Right, and our blank for our top rail will fit right in there nicely. And we'll use this actually to trace the line that's going to be cut. Now, because there's so much waste here, we'll cut this out at the bandsaw.
Now this is where the sled comes in real handy, because we have to cut the stick in the edge of this arch that you just rough cut. And you can't put it through a cutter freehand. You need it in a fixture that's really solid with plenty of clamps to hold it in place, because you're going to guide that edge of the MDF right against that collar, which is just below the cutter. And you can see that collar is riding against the MDF of the sled, and the cutter is making that nice cope cut. And the most delicate spot is right where he's coming to now, right at the end. That could blow out. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Ah, success. Well, now you can see that we have the full effect of that curve, and we have a full depth groove for our panel. But now it's overlaying the style. So we're going to have to remove some material. And here's a sample of what we're going to do. We're going to take out the material and put a small miter on it here. But that also means that we're going to have to put a small miter at the bottom of this arch to meet it. That's quite a saw. Digital controlled fence?
Yes, and very accurate, completely repeatable.
So he's ripping off that piece we talked about.
And he's got a little leeway at that mark because our stiles are much longer than they need to be.
Oh, this is nice. You get to use your sliding cross-cut fence.
Which is what makes these saws so terrific. It carries the material, so you're not pushing it.
You cut it a little short from the stopping point.
Right, so that we can create a really tight corner there, we'll have to finish it off with handwork.
So you completed the cut with a Japanese pull saw, and now you're going to sweeten it up with a chisel. Now we're ready to cut the miter in the arch.
And Neil's got a great trick. We take a piece of the cope and stick it in the detail, so when the blade comes through, it doesn't chip out.
Clever.
Well, let's see how we did. It looks pretty good.
All right. And I'd say that looks perfect.
Thank you.
Now, where the top rail meets the stile, we now have a butt joint. We don't have that cope and stick with a lot of glue surface. And glue alone is not going to be enough.
So we're going to use floating tenons.
And now we'll cut the mortises for those. 2 mortises in each end of the arch and 2 mortises in each stile. Now the panels are made up of 1/4-inch Baltic birch, and of course the top panel had to be cut to follow the arch. And that simply slips into the groove.
And then we butter everything up and start the glue up.
All right, now we want to put a nice coat of glue on both sides of each joint. And now you can slip it into place over those tenons. Now we just slide the panel into the top rail. And now the mid-rail.
And now the second panel.
All All right, a few clamps, and we've got ourselves a panel. Beautiful. Nice job, guys.
Thanks, Norm.
Well, it's been about 3 weeks since we were in Larry's shop where he built our kitchen cabinets. He's finished with them, so today it's time for installation. And Larry, you were busy in the shop, and now we've got you busy in our kitchen. And it looks to me like you got all the upper cabinets hung.
Each and every one.
Beautiful. And above it, you've got a plywood box, which could look like a soffit, but in this case, it's going to be to receive a cove. Like the rest of the house, we're using foam, but this profile doesn't have the tray return. It's just going to feather beautifully right into the ceiling, and that's going to be a good look.
Right, and that plaster actually comes down and intertwines between the uppers, so it'll follow the uppers all the way around. Where there aren't cabinets, that same detail goes around the room. We've got our range hood here, and our range, and lots of counters. That beautiful farmhouse sink goes right here, underneath that lovely window.
So with the upper cabinet set, it's time to set the lower cabinet, and you guys are starting with a frame system.
We are. There's different ways to put it in with legs or adjustable legs. We like this because we can come in, we can put these boxes in, get them all leveled and exactly where we want, and then we just put our boxes on top and attach them.
So you don't have to level each individual box, just level the frames.
Exactly.
And to get these level, are we going to shim or scribe?
We're going to shim. So we cast a laser level line all the way around the room to use as a reference.
So we can measure off of this, and at any point we know where we are.
Exactly right. Now, Neil has already set that set of kick boxes.
So this is perfectly level here.
Perfectly level. And so we're going to use that now to work around the room so we make sure that everything stays in the same plane.
And you've left an opening here for the dishwasher because that's going to go right down to the floor.
Right there.
And it looks like your side's got to come up a little bit.
Okay, we'll put this shim in.
A little more, right? Hang on.
How's that?
Right there.
Good.
Good.
So we'll work off of that corner and we'll level all the rest of this kick off of that.
Here you go.
Thank you. So with it level at the wall, now we're going to bring the face up to meet it and check it all across. How's that down there, Neil? And we just put screws through the back of the kick into the plate in the wall and then at an angle in the front through the shims.
All right, so with all the kick boxes in place, we're ready to set some of the cabinets. Let's start with a corner piece here.
Corner piece sets everything up.
Is this guy the second one?
And then we bring this one in.
All right, so I noticed there are no doors on it at this point.
Right, we fit them at the shop, but we take them off before delivery and installation. Just keeps them safer.
All right, and then the last one here for this corner. And this is actually creating a little bit of a peninsula coming out from the kitchen wall, setting you up into the family room.
It does. It connects the two rooms, and with this counter that extends this way, you've got seating space.
Nice. All right, so a few more of the boxes and cabinets to go in, then the floors come down, and then our kitchen's just about done. It looks great.
Thanks.
Now, this house has got a lot of stucco and a lot of plaster, but it is a Spanish colonial after all, and it's what you would expect to see in a house of this style. Now, this hallway right here, it's all new work, but we are trying to replicate the look of the old plaster that was in the house originally. Right down to this finish. We have the smooth and the rough right next to each other. And this finish, this technique, it's called cat face plaster. We've got it here in the hallway, and Alfonso is doing it in the bedrooms as well. Alfonso, more plaster.
You just can't have enough plaster here, man.
Spoken like a true plaster man. So we've got the cove all the way around the perimeter of this room, and you're working on the tray right here.
Yes.
You started with drywall, obviously. Then you've got the seams that were taped, and that's compound, joint compound?
Joint compound.
And then we've got the first coat of the plaster, which is going up right now.
Yes. Now we're applying second coat. And this is the part where we put our texture on it.
So the first coat is set up just enough.
Correct. And my second coat goes with a little bit of skipping trowel.
Skipping trowel, so
Yes.
you're sort of alternating the pressure.
Yes.
A little bit goes on smooth, some gaps.
Yeah, and that's why we also give it a different weight, so we don't have an even texture, you know? So what I'm doing, I'm going this way across, and this way across. back.
Trying to keep it random.
Yes, so it doesn't look mechanical.
So you see this style in a lot of houses?
In most of the Spanish houses, yes.
Looks pretty good, Alfonso. Good texture, nice and random.
Yeah, but it's still, there's some areas that I need to retouch, you know? So what I do is apply some water, then I get some like polishing going on.
So you're actually trying to knock down some of those lines now?
Yes, because you can see here, you see some of the trowel marks on this point?
Oh, yeah.
So what I do, I just apply some water and erase that part.
So you don't want to see any signs that that trowel was there.
Yeah, my texture needs to look random and in different ways, you know?
And you call this polishing. Are you just going to hit a few spots, or are you doing the whole surface?
The whole ceiling is going to be polishing.
Oh, so it's actually quite involved to get that textured finish. And then the final coat is going to be paint. Does that knock it down at all?
Yeah, some of the textures, they're going to disappear by the time they paint it.
Right. So here in the master bedroom, we get cat face on the ceiling, and we'll also get it on the walls and the cove?
Yes, they're all going to be texture.
And you'd probably do the floor too if you could.
Why not?
Why not? All right, thank you, Alfonso. Looks terrific.
You're welcome, man.
When we first got to the job site this morning, we noticed a lot of stains in the ceiling, like this one right here in the dining room. And I have to say, we weren't all that surprised after hearing stories about the rainiest December in Los Angeles in the past century, or 6 days of non-stop rain. Angel, sounds like you guys had it pretty bad.
Oh, we did have it bad, but stains weren't the only problem. Up here, we had streams of water running out of the ceiling, so we had to tear the ceiling out, and we started looking up there, and our worst fears were realized. It was the roof.
Originally, the plan was that all the roof work would be on the new part of the house, and that we wouldn't have to touch the original roof up front here.
That was the plan, but with all this rain that we received just recently, we found that there was a lot of other problems, especially up here on the front half of the house. We've got a bunch of leaks down here. We've got one over here on this front half, one over here on this half of the house where we just put plastic over it as a stopgap.
Right. So this will all have to be fixed, done properly. And what's that going to cost us?
Right around $7,000.
Wow, that is unfortunate. So not a great story, although I guess it could have been worse. I mean, all this could have happened, say, 2 months from now when you guys were gone, the finishes were done, and the furniture was in the house.
That would have been probably the worst thing that could have happened.
All right, well, I guess we know what we're working on next. So, and we also know what happens when it rains in Southern California. So until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
And I'm Angel Leon.
For This Old House. So 2 holes on this side? Did we have any holes?